What's up, everyone? This is the Next Tape Podcast, episode 143 with Mikel and
Tanyka.
where we have conversations on different topics. So today we're going to do the third part of our Halloween series. If you guys want to check out the last two parts, they're available now. Tanika will name the last two episodes. What are those two episodes, Tanika?
So the first one that we did was superstitions,
Mm-hmm.
and the second one we did was cryptids/creepypasta. That's kind of what we did.
Nice. Yep.
And this one we're going to be doing sleep paralysis.
Right. Okay.
That's what we're going to be doing.
Let's get to that episode.
Okay. So, Mikel, have you ever, or do you ever think you've experienced sleep paralysis? And do you know what sleep paralysis is? Because I think
Something,
go ahead.
something that has to do with like night demons.
Yes, it can involve
Yeah,
night demons, or not even so much night demons, not
yeah,
necessarily just at
yeah,
night, but
yeah.
just demons or seeing figures or that kind of thing. Um, but it does go deeper than that. I mean, again, there's sleep paralysis demons, but I think you can have sleep paralysis without experiencing a demon.
Right, right.
So let's get into it. So
Okay.
sleep paralysis is a state during waking up or falling asleep in which a person is conscious but in a complete state of full body paralysis.
Mm-hmm.
During an episode, the person may hallucinate, hear, feel, or see things that are not there, which often results in fear.
Mm-hmm.
Episodes generally last no more than a few minutes, though it can feel like forever. It can reoccur multiple times or occur as a single episode. The condition may occur in those who are otherwise healthy or those with narcolepsy, or it may run in families as a result of some sort of genetic changes. The condition can be triggered by sleep deprivation, psychological stress, or abnormal sleep cycles. The underlying mechanism is believed to involve a dysfunction in REM sleep. Diagnosis is based on a person's description. Other conditions that can present similarly include narcolepsy, atonic seizure, and hypoclemic periodic paralysis.
Mm-hmm.
Treatment options for sleep paralysis have been poorly studied. I don't know how easily you can study that, but anyways,
Right.
it is recommended that people be reassured that the condition is common and generally not serious. Other efforts that may be tried include sleep hygiene, cognitive behavioral therapy, and antidepressants. So that kind of just means like having a bedtime routine, making sure you're not doom scrolling or like whatever, like you're allowing yourself the time to unwind, um, and be able to sleep properly.
So so you're saying that like sleep paralysis. Okay, I can't pronounce the other
Sleep
word.
paralysis.
Okay, can like if you're like doom scrolling, I would say it can uh what's the word? Not prevent, but like increase, I would say. Is that you get what I'm
Um,
trying to say?
yeah, I think like it's the act of what you're doing
Uh-huh.
that can interrupt your bedtime routine, which then
Uh-huh.
in turn can interrupt
Okay.
proper sleep, which could
Okay.
then
Right.
potentially cause it to happen. It's not like it's going to happen every single time,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
it can bring on the potential that could happen, right? Um, because like I mean I don't know why it happens. Because I think we've all experienced to some degree sleep paralysis. When you're waking up or you know you're awake, but your body hasn't woken up alongside that and you're unable to move. Oh God, I hate this. You hardly you're like you can't move, even though you're like telling your brain, wake up, wake up. I'm trying to wake up. I'm trying to move. I can't move, and it's yes, I say it can be like a few minutes, but it can feel like a
mm,
lifetime
mm,
when you're sitting there being like, I'm awake. I know I'm awake. I can feel it. I'm not dreaming, and I'm trying to wake myself up, and I can't do it.
mm,
So, for me, I don't have so much of an issue with, like, the doom scrolling and stuff like that. For I think that can affect my sleep in other ways, but what I find is if I'm sleeping, especially if I'm sleeping on my stomach,
mm,
and I I have to kind of position myself in such a way where in case I have a sleep paralysis episode, which can happen more so when I sleep on my stomach,
mm,
that not only will I have that, okay, that's what I was saying. I I have had moments where I have sleep paralysis on my
mm,
stomach
mm,
and my I don't have a clear airway.
mm,
So my face is getting like it might be somewhat in the pillow and I can't breathe, but then I can't move to
mm.
get the breath. That is freaking terrifying. So I would
Interesting.
so I would have to position myself in such a way if I do sleep on my stomach or put my pillow in such a way if I do sleep on my stomach that if it were to happen, I can I know at least at the very least I can breathe.
Mm,
Because when you're the fear sets in, right? It messes your breathing up and
mhm, mhm.
it's not fun. But that's happened to me. So it's yeah, it just you know, that's what I mean by proper sleep hygiene is just like doing all the right things so that you can have a
Right.
good sleep and maybe not
Well,
have that happen.
mhm. So there are studies that are like, well, isn't a consensus. Many studies suggest that females may slightly more likely experience sleep. Well, I want to say SP than
Sleep
males.
paralysis, yeah. Yeah, I feel like I mean, men have that happen to them too,
Mhm,
but I
mhm,
feel like most of the people I hear who have experienced sleep paralysis
mhm,
tends to be women. Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, I think that makes and I don't know why that is. I don't
Yeah,
know.
there's differences. Well,
Maybe.
through these differences are not always significant and can
Mhm.
depend on population studied. Overall, prevalence of varies significantly across studies, but can range from under 5% to over 30% for a lifetime experience. So, yeah.
Yeah. Alright, let me go back to this. So, between 8% to 50% of people experience sleep paralysis at some point during their lifetime. About
Mhm.
5% of people have regular episodes. Males and females are affected equally. So, it's funny that you have that that says it tends to happen
Yeah,
more with women, but here
yeah.
I have it happens equally between men and
This is
women.
slightly. This is slightly.
Okay,
But
got
there's
it.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Sleep paralysis has been described throughout history. It is believed to have played a role in the creation of stories about alien abduction and other paranormal events, which,
Huh.
yeah, I think, I mean, whether or not you believe in alien abductions is a different story.
Mhm,
But from what I've heard, people who claim they have been abducted by aliens, yeah, just the fact that like they can't move during certain situations of being like studied, I guess, if you want to use that term, they can't move. So let's pretend for a second that if it is sleep paralysis and not an alien abduction,
mhm,
that that can make sense that people think it could be that.
Mhm, mhm.
The paranormal experience, we'll get to that in a second. That's a little different.
Right.
So, the main symptom of sleep paralysis is being unable to move or speak during waking. Imagined sounds such as humming, hissing, static,
Mhm,
zapping, and buzzing noises are reported during sleep paralysis. Other sounds, such as voices, whispers, and roars, are also experienced. It has also been known that one may feel pressure on their chest and intense pain in their head during an episode. These symptoms are usually accompanied by intense emotions such as fear and panic. People also have feelings of drowning or sinking, being dragged out of bed, or of flying, numbness, and feelings of electric tingles or vibrations running through their body.
mhm,
Sleep paralysis may include hallucinations such as an intruding presence or a dark figure in the room.
mhm,
These are commonly known as sleep paralysis demons. It may also include inability to breathe, as I was just saying,
mhm,
or the individual feeling a sense of terror accompanied by a feeling of pressure on one's chest and difficulty breathing.
mm,
The pathophysiology of sleep paralysis has not been concretely identified, although there are several theories about its cause. The first of these stems from the understanding that sleep paralysis is a parasomnia resulting from dysfunctional overlap of the REM and waking stages of sleep. Polysono okay, hold on. Polysomnographic studies have found that individuals who experience sleep paralysis have shorter REM sleep latencies than normal, along with
mhm,
shortened NREM and REM
mhm,
sleep cycles and
mhm,
fragmentation of REM sleep.
mhm,
It's basically like your REM cycle is so important. And obviously, like, I mean, for those people who track their sleep, like I track my
right.
sleep, not all the time, but I do track
Mhm,
it
mhm,
sometimes. You notice you go into like go from waking to REM light, REM light. Maybe you'll go down to deep, back to light, REM. Like it's very important that you're going through your REM cycle. Because that's where you have like the restorative sleep is in your I think I say it's your light sleep,
mhm,
but like you need to have that up and down because you don't go into light or deep until you go into your REM. So, um, this study supports the observation that disturbance of regular sleeping patterns can precipitate an episode of sleep paralysis because fragmentation of REM sleep commonly occurs when sleep patterns are disrupted and has now been seen in combination with sleep paralysis.
mhm,
Another major theory is that the neural functions that regulate sleep are out of balance, causing different states to overlap. In this
mhm,
case, that's a word that I don't know how to say. Cloneur, clo, if you know it, forget it.
mhm,
I'll spell it CHOLINERGIC, sleep, which is on neural populations are hyperactivated and the tonograph, wow, sleep. Okay, so basically the on sleep and then the off sleep.
right.
Neural populations are underactivated. As a result, the cells capable of sending the signals that would allow for complete arousal from the sleep state, the this would be the off sleep.
Mhm, mhm,
Neural populations have difficulty in overcoming the signals sent by the cells that keep the brain in the sleep state. During normal REM sleep, the threshold for a stimulus to cause arousal is greatly elevated. Under normal conditions, medial and vestibular nuclei, clor- cortical and thalamic, and another word I'm not going to try and pronounce, centers coordinate things such as head and eye movement and orientation in space. So
yeah,
obviously in REM,
yeah,
your rapid eye movement, right? That's what it
mhm,
stands for.
yeah.
So that's that all
Okay.
makes sense.
When it comes to healthcare, they have a long names for a lot of things when it
I
comes to
know,
the
and I'm
body.
struggling.
And I don't know. Yeah, I understand. It's ridiculous. So like,
It is
and when it
ridiculous.
comes to like when it comes to like I'm just saying, like, I know we're getting a little bit off topic. When it comes to body parts or whatever, it's
Mm,
just like there's long names. Our arms are not called our arms; they're called
no,
different names.
they're
Our
yeah, same
fingers
thing
are
with
not. Yeah.
yeah, that's why we have, like, these easier things is why I'm trying to find the
Yes.
loopholes. I'm
Yes.
like, "Oh, it says on, okay, and off," because it's so difficult. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah,
I'm
that's
not a doctor, so
yeah. So another thing, does sleep paralysis um it does that is that like another well let's say it properly like another like is this mental health as well? Does it involve with like your mental health?
I don't think so. I
Uh
mean, I'm sure it could be a contributor because, like, if your
mhm,
mental health is potentially affecting your
mhm,
sleep, then I'm
yeah.
sure it can be a contributor, but I don't think it's linked in the sense of if you have a mental health illness
Mhm,
that you are more prone to having sleep paralysis.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
it just kind of depends on the situation. I think it's more of a you could if that's affecting your sleep.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If
Um, so individuals reporting sleep paralysis, there's almost no blocking of exogenous stimuli, which means it is much easier for a stimulus to arouse the individual. The vestibule nuclei in particular has been identified as being closely related to dreaming during the REM stage of sleep.
mm,
According to this hypothesis, vestibular motor disorientation, unlike hallucinations, arise from completely endogenous
mhm,
sources of stimuli.
mhm,
If the effects of sleep, which is the on, neural populations cannot be counteracted, characteristics of REM sleep are retained upon awakening. Common consequences of sleep paralysis include headaches, muscle pain, or weakness or paranoia. I can definitely understand the muscle pain for sure.
mm,
Um, as a correlation with REM sleep suggests the paralysis is not complete, use
mhm,
of EOG traces shows that eye movement is still possible during such episodes. However, the individual experiencing sleep paralysis is unable to speak.
right.
Research has found a genetic component in sleep paralysis. The
Mm,
characteristic fragmentation of REM sleep, hypnopompic and
mm,
hypnagogic
mm,
hallucinations have
mhm,
a heritable component in other parasomnias, which lends credence to the idea that sleep paralysis is also genetic. Twin
right.
studies have shown that if one twin of a monozygote pair or identical twins, that's so much easier to say,
Mhm,
experiences sleep paralysis, that the other twin is very likely to experience it as well. The identification of a genetic component means that there is some sort of disruption of a function at the physiological level.
mm,
Further studies must be conducted to determine whether there is a mistake in the signaling pathway for arousal as suggested by the first theory presented, or whether the regulation of melatonin or the neural populations themselves have been disrupted. All right, so let's head into hallucinations. So, several types of hallucinations have been linked to sleep paralysis. The belief that there is an intruder in the room, the feeling of a presence, and the sensation of floating. One common hallucination is the presence of an incubus.
mhm,
A neurological hypothesis is that in sleep paralysis, the cerebellum, which usually coordinates body movement and provides information on body position, experiences a brief myoclonic spike in brain activity, inducing a floating sensation.
mm, mhm,
The intruder and incubus, or maybe there's incubus and then there's I think an incubi, but
mhm,
there's this is the female version. There is a male version of that too.
right.
Maybe both. I don't know. Hallucinations highly correlate with one another and moderately correlated with a third hallucination, vestibular motor disorientation, also known as out of body experience. Had that. I've had that. It
Mhm,
sucks. which differ from the other two in not involving the threat-activated vigilance system.
Mhm.
So, before we head into the vigilance system that we're going to head into in a second,
Yeah.
I think I talked about this one time, but I'll talk about it here because it's more, I said I was going to bring it up.
Yeah.
Um, like I said, I've had sleep paralysis to the point where I know I'm awake, I'm fully aware, and I
Mhm.
can't move, I can't speak, I can't, like, you want to scream and you can't, like, you can't, like, you just, yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, I, uh, I find that, I don't know, there's a trick that I do, but I can't remember what that is. In the moment, I always remember, but
Mhm.
outside of it, I guess I just don't remember that I do to try and like arouse awakening, but
Right. Right.
I can't remember what that is in the moment right now. But I was talking about the fact, I think we were talking about in superstitions, that I always have to sleep with my door closed, that it's a requirement. Yeah. Sleep with the door open. I don't like looking out into the hallway. I just don't like that feeling.
Right.
There's a reason why. So I've always kind of been that way. There
Mhm.
was one time, because I always figured I have to do it at nighttime. Like there's at nighttime, I have to do it during the day, I'm fine. So this was when I was in my 20s. I would have woken up with helping my mom get out for work and stuff like that, and helping with my
Mhm.
brother
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
whatever. And I went back to sleep afterwards. It was like middle of the day, it's summertime, I think. It was bright outside. Like there's no reason I couldn't leave my door open, but I left my door open.
Right.
So I was sleeping, I fell asleep, and I thought I woke up, but I didn't wake up. I wasn't awake. I thought I had woken up though. And
Mhm.
I remember it felt so real, but I remember waking up, quote unquote, to hear my mom.
Mhm.
Because this time she would have been working downtown. And I remember
Right.
hearing my mom, and I'm like, oh, are you home? And the thing was talking back to me, and like they were my mom, and they were coming up the stairs. And oh God, I'm getting chills. And I remember feeling, wait a minute, I'm not awake.
Mhm.
I'm not awake. That's not my mom. And I'm like, wake up, wake up, wake up, because whatever it was coming up the stairs. And like, the setup of my house, right?
Mhm.
So whatever it was got to my landing. And you know where my room is in comparison to the landing.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I was like, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. And I did. I woke up and I was freaking out. I thought someone was in the house. And
Mhm.
I remember getting up and like, hello, hello. And no one was there.
Wow.
And I'm like, holy shit. I did not know what I experienced.
Mhm.
Besides the fact that I knew it was sleep paralysis and I knew that I was sleeping, but I didn't realize that that could have potentially have been a paralysis demon walking towards me. It's never happened again. I've
Mhm.
never experienced that since. I
Interesting.
I was terrified. And then I don't think it was until I started listening to other podcasts that talked about sleep paralysis and talked
Mhm.
about
Mhm.
experiencing sleep paralysis demons. And I'm like, oh, that's probably what happened.
Huh.
And I just didn't actually like see it. I didn't see it. I just heard it, heard whatever it was that sounded like my mom.
Mhm.
It felt like, yeah, I felt very paranormal in that sense. And I'm just like, what the hell? Oof.
Mhm.
So you will never catch my door open ever,
Right.
especially if I'm alone, which I don't
Right.
really go to sleep anymore, um, like that
Right.
anymore. Um, Once I'm up, I'm up. But then I would go back to sleep sometimes, and that day I
Yeah.
did. And I'm like, never again will I leave that door open when I'm here alone, especially because I was by myself. Like,
Now,
nah.
do you still like get it? Like how many days do you like usually get sleep paralysis?
I I get sleep paralysis, like, not like I feel like in my 20s I got it more often,
Uh,
whereas, like, now I don't get it as often, um, but I will say I think the last time I experienced it
mhm,
was, um, maybe about a month and a half to 2 months ago was the last time I
okay.
experienced it, and
So
again, I was sleeping on my stomach,
yeah,
and yeah.
yeah. So what helped her like, prevent it for you to for it to happen less for you? Because like you said, it happened more in your 20s, but it
I
looks
didn't do
like it's not.
anything. It just
Oh,
didn't happen as much, like, I didn't do like, there's not much you can really do to stop it from
mhm,
happening, you don't have control over it
right,
because it's happening while you're sleeping. It's
right,
something that can happen to anybody because
mhm,
your sleep cycles are overlapping,
right,
so it can happen to anyone. I
mhm.
didn't, like I didn't do anything to stop it.
Really? You
It's
didn't.
not like or slow it down, it just
Mhm.
happened, I guess, over time
Did
that
you
yeah.
did you feel like you got more sleep in your 30s than you did in your 20s, or is
No.
it it's like, mm,
No.
like, did you cut down on something, or did
No.
you? Okay. Oh,
No.
interesting.
No.
Mm,
I mean, I don't know, no. I wonder if, in my case, back then especially, I had a lot of stressors in life
mhm,
between relationship stuff or whatever. I feel like I had a lot on my mind,
yeah,
so
yeah,
it's hard to calm that down even when you're
yeah.
sleeping.
Stress. Yeah,
Yeah,
possibly down to stress.
I think stress is a trigger, at least for me. Maybe that's what was going on.
Right.
Um, because I think, like, if I think back to when I would have had my last one, which
Mm,
would have, like I said, about a month and a half to 2 months ago, was right around the time that, you know, I'm in the middle of fertility treatments. I'm, in this space now where I'm trying to, you know, move in with my boyfriend and dealing with, triggers and stressors with
mhm.
that's happened. And it's like, maybe that's my trigger. Maybe stress.
Yeah.
Stress is a trigger
That's
for a lot of things for me.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. And
Yeah. So
that's cool answer.
that could
Uh,
be what's going on for me. But anyways,
I don't think I ever had it in my whole entire
well,
life.
you're
I don't think
lucky.
yeah. So
You're lucky.
yeah. So I don't know if any of my family had it. I should ask.
Yeah.
So but I don't know if that's the story for me to tell from
No, no, no,
my
no.
family.
Not
So
the
like I don't.
You just do
So
it for
I
your
don't.
own purposes.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So no, I haven't experienced anything. Like I have days that my sleep schedule can be effed up and here and there. Like
Mhm.
I used to work overnights, and my sleep schedule was like off
Yeah.
balance. Right, I would sleep in the afternoon. Right,
Mhm.
yeah, and then that's basically it. But never, you know, sleep paralysis. So, um, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So, this hypervigilance state created in the midbrain may further contribute to hallucinations. The emergency response is activated in the brain when individuals wake up paralyzed and feel vulnerable to attack. This helplessness can intensify the effects of the threat response well above the level typical of normal dreams, which could explain why such visions during sleep paralysis are so vivid. The threat activated vigilance system is a protective mechanism that differentiates between dangerous situations and determines whether the fear response is appropriate. The hypervigilance response can lead to the creation of endogenous stimuli that contribute to the perceived threat. A similar process may explain hallucinations with slight variations, in which an evil presence is perceived by the subject to be attempting to suffocate them, either by pressing heavily on the chest or by strangulation. A neurological explanation holds that this results from a combination of the threat vigilance activation system and the muscle paralysis associated
Mm,
with sleep paralysis that removes voluntary control of breathing. Several features of REM breathing patterns exacerbate the feeling of suffocation. True,
mm,
true that. These include shallow, rapid breathing, hypercapnia, don't know exactly what that
mm,
is, and
mm,
slight blockage of the airway. Did I not just, yeah, that too, which is
mm.
a symptom prevalent in sleep apnea patients.
Right.
Interesting. Interesting. According to this account, the subjects attempt to breathe deeply and find themselves unable to do so, creating a sensation of resistance,
Mhm,
which the threat activated vigilance system interprets as an unearthly being sitting on their chest, threatening suffocation. The sensation of entrapment causes a feedback loop when the fear of suffocation increases as a result of continued helplessness, causing the subjects to struggle to end the SP episode. That is interesting because I was thinking sleep apnea could play a part
mhm,
in that as well.
Yeah.
So that feeling, because obviously, like if you have sleep apnea,
Yeah.
we all know that you have these moments, whether small or bigger, moments
Right.
of not breathing. So that that could
Sleep.
be potentially
Yeah.
what's going on as well,
Mm, mm,
where that's concerned.
yeah.
So differential diagnosis. So there's similar conditions that obviously could be sleep paralysis, and those conditions include exploding head syndrome, which sounds terrifying. Potentially frightening parasomnia. The hallucinations are usually briefer and always loud or jarring. There's no
Mm,
paralysis
mm.
during EHS, that's the
Right.
exploding head
Right.
syndrome.
Right.
Nightmare disorder, also REM-based parasomnia. Sleep terrors, that's something that happens.
What
Or potential,
is what
go
is
ahead.
nightmare disorder?
I don't know. I didn't do my
Like not
research on that
have
one.
not having
I
or
would think
having
more so having.
or more so okay, yeah.
I would say more so having, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was
And maybe
thinking not
having
have
maybe,
that's
like,
not the way.
your dreams are always nightmares. Ugh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
horror. That's
yeah,
horrible.
yeah, yeah. I see. Yeah. So go ahead.
So sleep terrors are potentially frightening parasomnia, but are not REM based, and there is a lack of awareness of surroundings,
Mhm.
characteristic screams during sleep terrors.
Mhm.
So you know when a person has sleep terrors, and that is different, and if not worse, especially for the person with you when you're
Mhm.
doing the sleep terrors and that you have
Yeah.
no control over.
Yeah.
Nocturnal panic attacks involve fear and acute distress but lack paralysis and dream imagery.
Mhm.
Imagery. Post-traumatic stress disorder, also on this list, often includes scary imagery and anxiety, but not limited to sleep-wake transitions. That's something people go through when they're very much awake.
Mhm.
Several circumstances have been identified that are associated with an increased risk of sleep paralysis. These include insomnia, sleep deprivation, an erratic sleep schedule, stress, as I've just mentioned, and physical fatigue. It is
Mhm.
also believed that there may be a genetic component in the development of RISP. So hold on, I think I missed. Oh, that's prevention, I think. Because there is a high concurrent incidence of sleep paralysis in monozygotic twins. I think that's the identical twins. Sleeping in the supine position has been found an especially prominent indicator of sleep paralysis. I'm learning so much.
Well, that's what research is. So,
Right? Because I'm
Yeah.
like, huh, yeah, check that off. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because,
Not
talking
misinformation.
yeah, talking through this, and I'm like, that rings so true, But anyway.
Mhm, mhm, mhm,
Sleeping in a supine position is believed to make the sleeper more vulnerable to episodes of sleep
mhm,
paralysis because in this sleeping position, it is possible for the soft palate to collapse and obstruct the airway. I guess I
mhm.
can't sleep on my stomach anymore. Um,
Yeah.
this is a possibility regardless of whether the individual has been diagnosed with sleep apnea or not. There may also be a greater rate of microarousals while sleeping in a supine position because there's a greater amount of pressure being exerted on the lungs due to gravity.
See, I never sleep on my stomach. I never slept on my stomach. I
I
feel like
have
it's always
always
kind of
been
weird.
I can
Uh,
sleep on my back and my side,
yeah.
but I think since I've been a kid,
Mhm,
I think once I discovered my stomach,
mhm,
my mom said
mhm.
this before too.
Yeah.
As soon as I discovered my stomach, that's all I
Mhm.
would do is sleep on my stomach.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I would lie down on my stomach. That'll be it. But sleep is always on either the side or my back. That's it.
Yeah. Guess I have
But
to give some stuff up. Anyways,
mhm,
the original definition of sleep paralysis was codified by Samuel Johnson in his A Dictionary of the English Language as nightmare, a term that evolved into the modern definition. The term was first used and dubbed by British neurologist S.A.K. Wilson in
mhm,
his 1928 dissertation, The Narcolepsis. Yeah. Such
mhm,
sleep paralysis was widely considered the work of demons and you know, more, more so the incubi, which we've talked about,
mhm, mhm,
which were thought to sit on the chests of sleepers. And not only that, if you know, you know. In Old English, the name for these beings was mare or Mary from
mhm.
a Proto Germanic whatever. We will not to go through all that, but that's kind of where it
Mhm.
comes from. Hence comes the mare in the word nightmare. The word might be cognate to Greek maron and Sanskrit as well. So, cultural significance in priming. So, although the core features of sleep paralysis appear to be universal, the
Mhm.
ways in which they are experienced vary according to time, place, and culture. So, over 100 terms have been identified for these experiences.
Right.
Some scientists have proposed sleep paralysis as an explanation for reports of paranormal and spiritual phenomena, such as
Mhm,
ghosts, alien visits,
mhm,
demons, or demonic possession, alien abduction experiences, the night hag, that that wonderful woman, the night hag.
mhm,
She's not wonderful. I'm lying. And
mhm.
shadow people haunting. According to some scientists, cultural may be a major factor in shaping sleep paralysis. When sleep paralysis is interpreted through a particular cultural filter, it may take on greater salience. For example, if sleep paralysis is feared in a certain culture, this fear could lead to conditioned fear and thus worsen the experience, in turn leading to higher rates. Consistent with this idea, high rates and long durations of mobility during sleep paralysis have been found in Egypt, where there are elaborate beliefs about sleep paralysis involving malevolent spirit like creatures like jinn, because we'll get to whatever that is in a second or not. Who knows? Research has found that sleep paralysis is associated with great fear and fear of impending death in 50% of sufferers in Egypt. A study comparing rates and characteristics of sleep paralysis in Egypt and Denmark found that the phenomenon is 3 times more common in Egypt than Denmark. In Denmark, unlike Egypt, there are no elaborate supernatural beliefs about sleep paralysis, and the experience is often interpreted as an old physiological event with overall shorter sleep paralysis episodes, and fewer people, 17%, fearing that they could die from it. Definitely don't think I could die from it, but like, I'm just
Mhm.
saying. So, folklore. Let's get into that. So, the night hag is a generic name for a folkloric creature found in cultures around the world, and which is used to explain the phenomenon of sleep paralysis. A common description is that a person feels the presence of a supernatural, malevolent being which immobilizes the person as if standing on the chest. This phenomenon goes by many names. I guess we're going to head into those different cultures and what you name your night hag. So, Albania. In
Mhm.
Albanian folk beliefs, Mokthi is believed to be a male spirit with a golden fez hat who appears to women who are usually tired or suffering and stops them from moving. It is believed that if they can take his golden hat, he'll grant them a wish. But then he will visit them frequently, although he is harmless. But he's sitting on your chest. How the is he harmless? Okay, I'm sorry. All right. There are talismans that can provide protection from Mukti, and one way is to put one's husband's hat near the pillow while sleeping.
Mhm.
What if you're a lesbian? What if you're single? What if like I digress. Um Makthi or Makthi in Albanian means nightmare.
Right. Mm.
Cambodia. Sleep paralysis among Cambodians is known as the ghost pushes you down and
Mhm.
entails the belief in dangerous visitations from deceased relatives.
Mm.
In Egypt, sleep paralysis is conceptualized as a terrifying jinn attack, which we kind of briefly talked about there. In Italy, in the different regions of Italy, there are many examples of supernatural beings associated with sleep paralysis. In the regions of Marche and Abruzzo, it is referred to as a pandafesci or pantafisha attack. The pandafesci usually refers to an evil witch, sometimes a ghost like spirit or a terrifying cat like creature that mounts on the chest of the victim and tries to harm him or her. The only way to avoid her is to keep a bag of sand or beans close to the bed so that the witch will stop to count how many beans or sand grains are inside it. A similar tradition is present in the Sardonian folklore, where the Amiltador is known as the creature that mounts on the people's chests during their sleep to give them nightmares, and it can change its shape according to the person's fears. In northern Italy, in the Tyrol area, the Trude is a witch that sits on the people's chests at night, making them unable to breathe. To chase her away, people should make the sign of the cross, something that would need a great struggle in a situation of paralysis. A similar
Yes.
folklore is present in the Senorio area around the city of Benevento, where the witch is called Gennara. In southern Italy, sleep paralysis is usually explained with the presence of a sprit standing on the people's chest. If the person manages to catch the sprite or sprit, whatever, or steal his hat in exchange for his freedom or to have his hat back, he can
Mm.
reveal the hiding place of a rich treasure. This sprite or sprit has different names in different regions of Italy. Monticello in Campania and Monachiciro in Basilicata, the Italian. I'm trying. I'll stop there because it's getting harder.
Mm.
Let's head on over to Canada and Newfoundland, in which is in eastern Canada, in case you don't know. Sleep paralysis is referred to as the old hag, and victims of a hagging are said to be hag-ridden upon awakening. Victims report being completely conscious but unable to speak or move, and report a person or an animal which sits upon their chest. Despite the name, the attacker can be either male or female. Some suggested cures or preventions for the old hag include sleeping with a Bible under the pillow, calling the sleeper's name backwards,
Mhm.
or in extreme example, sleeping with a shingle or board embedded with nails strapped to the chest. This object was called a hag board. That old
Mhm.
hag is well enough known in the province to be a pop culture figure, appearing in films and plays as well as in crafted objects. Nigeria has myriad interpretations of the cause of sleep paralysis due to numerous cultures and belief systems that exist there. In the States, sleep paralysis is sometimes interpreted as space alien abduction in the United States. True that. So, in literature, various forms of magic and spiritual possession were also advanced as causes in literature. In 19th century Europe, the vagaries of diet were thought to be responsible. So, for example, in Charles Dickens's A Christmas Carol, Ebenezer Scrooge attributes the ghosts he sees to, quote, an undigested bit of beef, a blot of mustard, a crumb of cheese, a fragment of an underdone potato. So, I just wanted to end off the episode with different people's experiences with sleep paralysis. So, what did I do? I went to Reddit and I found some stuff that
Mhm.
was a little scary, a little interesting, but
Try not
it
to, well, I told people to try not to take it to heart too much because it is Reddit. So,
is Reddit, but it doesn't
yeah.
matter. We're gonna have fun with it. I don't want
Yeah.
to just have fun with it. Um, so here's one.
Mhm.
Last night I had a creepy dream. Won't get into too much detail about it, but a long a long story short, I was in a very dark area with a lot of sketchy people around, and I was extremely scared. I woke up in the middle of the night, sleeping in my right side, and I couldn't move at all, and I was extremely scared. I felt something perhaps jump off my back and onto my pillow, and I got more scared. I heard some random loud noises. Don't know if it was the dog in the living room. As I
Mhm.
was absolutely freaked. I ended up saying, "Save me, Jesus." Well, I believe in that, it's whatever. And the second I said, "Jesus," I felt all these never, oh, sorry, all felt all these never my whole body, sorry, English. And I could move and I wasn't scared and was tossing and turning all night. That's one. Another one. I dealt with regular sleep paralysis events from age 17 to 38. Initially, for a number of years, they were only events where I felt awake but couldn't move, unsettling but not terrifying, and then eventually wiggled or vibrated myself awake. Later, they included flashes of scary things that were out to get me while paralyzed, and even later feelings of evil and weight on my chest. Admittedly, I believe the scary and evil all came from after researching the history of sleep paralysis and the classic paintings of a demon sitting on the chest of the paralyzed, as well as stories from others' experiences. So that's one. Another one. Had a similar experience when I was a kid. I've been reading a bunch about yoga and Eastern mysticism and chakras and all that business. I woke up and saw what appeared to be a white orb floating in the corner of my room. That
Mhm.
sounds so bad. I couldn't move or speak. It floated over me and then split into 7 smaller orbs that turned the color of all the chakras. While the sight itself didn't seem malevolent or threatening as such, I was filled with a sense of utter dread and terror. Well, then, isn't that not the definition of malevolent? Anyways, I digress. Um, and I finally was able to force out the words, "Help me, Jesus." Again, whether you believe in that is your business. I don't think that has anything to do with this personally, but anywho's.
Mhm.
And boom, orbs vanished. I could move fully, and while I had been totally terrified, just a moment before, I felt at perfect ease, literally just rolled over and went to sleep like nothing had happened. Good for you, because I sure as hell, I need a minute. Another one. I've had sleep paralysis many times throughout my life. I've been able to tie some of the situations to things that were currently happening. For example, I was at a church retreat and there was a situation where a fellow Christian I knew started screaming at another person in the hotel lobby. This is hilarious. In front of a lot of people. She had a weird snarl on her face. I'm not saying she was demon possessed. I intervened and it stopped. That night, I woke up to someone leaning over the bed and there was a faceless person. Ooh, yeah. Ew.
Mhm. So
Um, the way the leaders booked the rooms, some of us had to share a bed, and I was one of those people. I shared with another friend. Anyway, I sat up and shook my friend's arm, telling her that someone was in the room, and then it disappeared. Someone is in the room. Girl, sir, they, what?
Mhm, mhm,
I felt the presence, and it was very scary. I don't know if it was was sleep paralysis since I could move, but I believe it was tied to what happened in the lobby. Eek.
mhm.
Um, Another one. See how much more I have left here. I think there's only two left after this one.
Yep.
In another situation, I felt something jump on my chest and it was a horrible experience. I prayed and felt like the oppression was tied to a coworker. I had sensed earlier that there was something evil going on with him, or that he had a dark side. After my experience, I had the opportunity to share the gospel with him. Okay, sure. Though not as much as I would have liked. Sometime after that, he ended up getting arrested for pedophilia type behavior. There's the dark side. Again, I think all of that was spiritual warfare. We might not always have an answer for why it happens, but I believe in the power of prayer, so on and so forth, is what this person had to say. Let's move on to the next one.
Mhm.
I've only had this once, but the sleep paralysis demons, there were many, were crawling all over me. They looked like shadows, but like freaky skeletal haunting shadows with frayed edges that vibrated like static. I knew what was happening. I realized I must be experiencing sleep paralysis. And these are those demons people talk about, but it was still horrifying. I then experienced a false awakening and saw my roommate standing ominously in my doorway. That was also horrifying, and I was still experiencing the paralysis. And
Mm,
then I finally woke up for real. Not a good time. 0 out of 5 stars. Do not recommend.
mm,
It's funny.
mm.
And the last one.
Okay.
I often wake up paralyzed. In these times, you can't open your eyes or scream. Oh man, you want to scream. Hell
Mhm,
yeah, you do.
mhm,
For help when you have no idea what is going on. You wake up but can't move. But this time it was different. I woke up on my back, but somehow I did open my eyes. I saw my room, but I still couldn't move. Then in my peripheral vision, I saw two women's hands with crazy long, sharp claws. They grabbed my head
mhm,
and just pulled me off the bed onto the floor. Ew. When I hit the floor, I broke free. I jumped up, scared as hell. No one was in the room. I couldn't sleep for some time, just sat on my bed, terrified. She was able to fall asleep though about 30 minutes later. This person could do it. But that is sleep paralysis, y'all. And hate
mhm.
that.
So I
What's that?
so I did a little bit of Googles, you
Okay.
know, you know, and there is like, prevention for sleep paralysis.
Yeah, we kind of talked a
So
little bit about it.
oh, you did? Oh,
A little bit.
a little bit. Okay. Alright. Okay. Well, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, again, I think like the main thing is
mhm.
because again, there's only so much control you have over whether or not you'll
Yeah,
experience it
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
and how often you experience it and all that. But I
Yeah.
think like having good sleep hygiene, having a
Mhm.
bedtime routine,
Okay.
um,
Yeah,
you know,
that's it, yeah.
if you potentially think you have sleep apnea,
Yep.
maybe do research into that.
Mhm.
Because that could be contributing factors to
Mhm,
maybe
mhm.
what you're experiencing. Um, so yeah, there's definitely those kinds of things that you can look into.
Right.
Um, and then also just maybe being hyper aware of the sleep positions that you're going into. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that also helps because I know
Mhm.
like for me, being on my back prevents the I don't think I've ever experienced sleep paralysis on my back. I
Mhm.
think I only ever experienced them on my stomach. So, actually, that's not true. I might have been on my back that particular time I talked about, but um, I rarely have it happen on my back. And maybe that might be a better option for people if you think you tend to have it more in other positions. Just be kind of hyper aware of those things, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. All right. Hopefully we uh you guys learn from this episode. I know it wasn't that much of a scary,
Well, I mean,
but
have you seen the picture of the Hague? It's scary. It's
yeah,
it's 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 maybe not terrifying for you
yeah,
because you haven't experienced it,
yeah,
but
no,
for people who have experienced
yeah,
it,
yeah,
it's freaking terrifying.
yeah.
It's terrifying.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Well, they can't technically see the what we're showing, but they would have to research it. But like,
No, people who've actually seen it
mhm. Oh,
have. There's
through
people
sleep.
who have
Okay,
seen,
you're talking about
like,
through the sleep. Okay, all right.
yeah, when you're
Okay,
having,
I thought
no,
you
when
said.
you're talking about sleep paralysis,
Oh, okay, okay, all
when
right.
you're experiencing demons,
Uh-huh.
people are actually seeing those things,
Okay, yeah. All
right?
right.
So
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
that's scary. I'm
I
saying
thought you. Okay.
yeah, I'm not saying I have. I'm saying
Uh-huh.
that, well, came real freaking close at one time, but like
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah, yeah,
haven't.
yeah, yeah.
But just like, obviously, I'm not saying you should experience this because it sucks. But even without the demon,
Mhm.
the experience of going through sleep paralysis, and imagine like you can't move. You don't
Mhm.
have control over that. You can't scream even though you want to scream and you can't scream.
Mhm.
That being stuck inside your body
Mhm. Mhm.
is very scary. That is scary. That's real life, and real life is scarier than anything.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Hopefully you guys learn how had a little fun towards the end with the Reddit stories.
yeah.
And yeah, just do your research on it and hopefully this episode helps. Okay. So this ends episode 143 of the Next Tape podcast. The Next Tape podcast is available on all podcast platforms. We also have a website called Tanika.
Next take podcast.podpage.io.
And where else are we at?
Facebook and Instagram at Next Take Podcast, and Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Next Take Pod.
And you can contact us on the email at mikeltanika@gmail.com. That is mikeltanika@gmail.com. So the whole episode of our third Halloween series is Tanika.
Sleep paralysis.
And yeah, like I said previously, guys, hope you guys learn, had a little fun, and do your research on sleep paralysis. So yeah, if you guys haven't heard the last two episodes, it's available now. Um, part one and part two of our Halloween series, and hopefully, hopefully you guys enjoy those two episodes as well. Um, and yeah. So when is like part four of our Halloween series?
So, part 4, which is next week, is going to be us talking about some haunted places
Mhm, mhm.
in good old US of A. So, just like we did our Canadian one, which was, I think we did that last year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We're doing America this time around.
Okay. All right. That's basically it for this episode. So I'm Mikal, and
And I'm Tanika.
we're out until
Next week.
next week. Peace, guys.
Bye.